Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified M.A.S.S device breaker. And yes, this is a Target exclusive, and depending on when you're watching this, I did find this at Target this morning. Now, what was really odd was I had them look it up yesterday. Again, you got to be watching this now. I had them look it up yesterday. They were populating at 6 almost at every single store. They're a straight case. I looked this morning. They populate as none, yet there was 4 sitting on the shelves, which means there's 2 that were already grabbed. But anyway, if you're seeing this on day 1 or day 2, head to Target. They are getting them, and again, they'll probably be even more plentiful as time goes on. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this guy. We're also going to compare him to the original O-ring right there. And if you got a straight arm, and we have the original breaker release that came with the Ram Cycle, which was also a Target exclusive, which made a lot of people mad. But anyway, we're going to take a look at him, see everything that he comes with. He comes with the bubblegum mouth, a non-bubblegum mouth, which is good. Everything that he is sitting right, all of his accessories. There you have your M.A.S.S device. On the side, 158. Some really cool artwork where he's blowing a bubble. And then on the back, you can see him trying to get away with the M.A.S.S device. What is that? The Sky Strikers. It does not mean we're getting a Sky Striker. I was looking to see if maybe one of my Rattlers that still hasn't shipped is in there, but it's not. Anyway, there's that. There's your QR code that leads you straight to hell, and there's their file card system, which I don't think anyone understands or knows how it works. But anyway, I'm excited. I got a new G.I. Joe. We've all been waiting for this. It is at Target, so please head on over there. Don't say you can't look for it or you can't find it unless you actually go out there. But anyway, let's get into it. But before we do, if you like this type of content, you like when I give you G.I. Joes, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a G.I. Joe review. That's it. All right, so we got Breaker out. Now let's take a look at him and everything that he comes with. And if you're new to the channel, I really like to start off with the accessories. So first off, we'll start off with the pistol and the suppressor, which are reuse. So quickly, looking at this, it has the extended magazine. I think the extended magazine looks awesome, but it does become problematic sometimes when putting it in the holster if you need to have the figure sit down, or it catches stuff when you're trying to pose them. But I think it does look good. It just has a little bit of detail. You have your trigger guard along with your trigger. Your grip looks really nice. All right, you got your slide there, your iron sights. So, and then you have the suppressor that I literally just shot. It's the rectangle suppressor. It's one of those ones where I kind of don't like it, but then when I put it on, I actually think it looks pretty good. So it is interesting. I don't mind that they did something different rather than just the normal round suppressor. All right. I'm going to quickly talk about this here. So this is the cable that's going to connect the backpack to his helmet. And looking at it, I thought this was just the just another one of like Dr. Mindbender's, or you know, the Alley Viper, not the Alley Viper, the Techno Viper or Barbecue here. But I'm going to show you, they are way different. Now, you can tell they just shortened the mold, all right? Because even the connection here looks the exact same, but you can see the thickness. I mean, it's not even close. So it's not even like, hey, they made a little bit of a change. It is huge. So they did take that into account to make this a little bit thinner. And I think it might work a lot better for some of these other figures that don't need such huge cords like this. So, all right, we got this nice little knife here. It's got the little handle here. It's got the guard. Nice paint. It's still a little blunt, and I understand why they do them so blunt. Again, I wish they were a little bit thinner like they originally came, but this is more than likely going to stay sheathed anyway. All right, so then we're going to get to the M.A.S.S device here now. If anyone is wondering, this is the same cylinder that comes with Dr. Mindbender. All right, you can see exactly where you can kind of plug the little vials into it. It's got some detail right along there. This does come off, and then obviously this comes out because Dr. Mindbender held a hand inside of it. So if you have Dr. Mindbender's, or you got the hand somehow, but you don't have the cylinder to go into it, well, you can pop this in it. Or if you have this and you maybe want to change the color up, you can throw it in there. So here's the I guess the residue or whatever that they use for the M.A.S.S device. And again, this is the gold version of it. It's all kind of beat up on the front, so, or on the top, so it's not just level. And obviously it's clear. It plugs right in, so you don't have to worry about really losing it. And these are things that can be used for a lot of different things, all right? So don't think that, hey, it can only be used for that. God knows we can use it for all kinds of things if you're doing dioramas and stuff like that. All right, as for the backpack, we're going to be taking a look at this, and we'll be comparing it to what he had here and everything that goes with it. So here we have the antenna. Obviously, he needs to be able to connect. It does move up and down, so you really shouldn't have to worry about this breaking. Just a little bit of detail right on there. It looks like you get 2 extra antennas here. These are probably 2 handles, so he can lift it up if need be. You get just a little bit of electronics here. It looks like a panel that probably opens up, so you can, change things around, change the circuit breakers if need be. And then down here, just once again, some other design that who knows what it actually is. Here's where I think the hose probably will plug into. When you look at the back here, they even put some nice detail in here, so that's actually really nice because the way it's going to sit on his back, although that seems very, very uncomfortable. And then here we have his helmet, all right, and it's got the comm device right there, all right, so that nice detail in there. You get the headset, so he's going to be able to hear everything that's going on. It's going to plug directly into the back here. And this helmet has a little bit of detail to it. And then on the front, it has what looks like it should hold the nods. Now, it would have been nice if they would have made this so you can put existing nods on here, but they didn't. I'm not really sure what they're doing. It's like they're creating new helmets when of all the things that they probably should be doing a cost-saving measure should be the helmets and making them just modular where they can throw different things onto them, all right? So quickly, we're going to pop this on here. So that's just going to plug directly into the back. And again, if it had this big tube, or this big hose here, it would be way too big. So I'm glad that they did a little bit of modification there. And this one here actually plugs in, all right? So if you do take this off, actually, you know what, I kind of like this because if you take this off, you don't have a peg sticking out. Same with on the back. So you're actually plugging this into it, which is different than, even though they look the same, you're always going to have this peg kind of sitting out there. Now for a big hose like this one's broken. You can see I actually bought a new one. Right here, see, look at that. I don't know why I showed you that before somebody asked. So that's the backpack. Now, quickly, since we already have the backpack out, let's take a look at Breaker's backpack. And if you look at it, it's not the exact same. It looks like they put like little monitors at the bottom there. All right. It's obviously going to plug in. It's going to plug directly into his helmet. Now, this is a really small backpack. This is obviously going to be much bigger because, well, in real life, they're going to be bigger. But it looks like they left like little, I don't know if I've always thought these were like little TV monitors, or maybe that one was. But you just kind of get a little bit of devices just to kind of show you what it might have. And then when you get to the actual helmet, you got the earpieces, you got the mic, you got the big piece on the back. So this is one of those things where I think they've done enough here that should satisfy somebody that wants something that's very retro, even though it has a nod piece up here. For the record, that's probably where the end of the retro version looks. Because I think we will eventually get a retro version of this guy. And then as for the alternate head, this guy was always shown as chewing bubble gum. And I know there were people that did different versions of this guy right here. Not different versions, but did 3D printing of him chewing bubble gum. So here we have him chewing bubble gum, blowing a bubble. That hair looks really good. You can kind of see the crease there, not a big deal. That ear looks good. Eyes look good. Like he's looking straight forward. The expression on this face, I mean, this gives you a lot of character. Could you imagine him like he's been caught by a cobra, and they're just kind of questioning him, and he cares so little that he just blows a bubble in Cobra Commander's face or the Baroness's face. But that face has a lot of expression to it, and I think the hair looks good too. All right, as for the actual figure, we can quickly take a look at him and see if this is worth the kind of the hype that people have been talking about and wanting to go get him. All right, so once again, hair looks all the exact same. Ears are good. All right, the texture in that really makes it look like he has actual hair. Nice beard. All right, that mustache going all the way down into it. I don't see too much issue with the paint, at least how I'm looking here. Eyebrows are good. Eyes are looking straight. The paint on their faces have gotten so much better since early on. All right. We get here. This is the same plate carrier that Grunt uses. All right. So you get the Joe Pro that's still on here, which I have no problem with the Joe Pro. All right. But it is kind of funny. He's a communications officer, and they do give him the communication. So, but this is supposed to also, if anyone is wondering, when they first did the G.I. Joe Classified line, they assumed like this would kind of give like a Tony Stark, an Iron Man feel, where it'd be a 3D projected. It could illuminate everything, just give a hologram off so they could talk to whoever they were talking to. All right. There's a sheath for his knife there. We get A Kirby E4. This is a nice little comm device. This thing does flip down. And there you have a little bit of a detail right there, which is different than what Grunt had. Now, in reality, these things can pop off. I'm not going to tell you not to. I wouldn't pop this off. This thing is a pain in the ass to get back on, and sometimes it does not want to stay on. Same with popping this off. So all this is a little phone. You got the lens right there. So this way they can monitor everything that's going on. They just got a good idea of what's been going on. You got all these pouches, and what I mean by that, it's video. Kind of losing my train of thought. Got these pouches right down here. All right, and then on the back, another plate carrier that's just supposed to protect you from getting shot. Now this here, I will say right away, this is something they should have painted. So obviously he's supposed to have these black, it's supposed to be black on top of his shoulders, but they didn't paint the inside right there. So when you're looking at it, it doesn't look right because this isn't painted. So there's really no reason not to at least paint that piece right there. Short sleeve shirt, you can see the cuff right there, just going all the way down. He's got a watch over on this side here, reading at 1824. Again, sleeved over here, and I love the wrinkles. It just gives a lot of detail to these figures. You get to the belts. All right, so here we have the nice belt buckle. You can see the rivets in it, holding it on there. Now he has no belt loops, so I guess this is one that just goes over it, because when you look at the belt underneath here, the way that's put together, you do have the loops right underneath there. So what I would assume is a pretty good buck. We have the holster right on the back, and then we have the spot for the suppressor. Now this is, again, not in the greatest spot because when you look at it, if you want him sitting in a vamp, this might become problematic to sit him down there. Going down all the way down the legs, again, all completely pinless on the elbows and knees. We got two pouches right here. These are probably going to float, as we've seen most of these pouches that don't have some sort of connecting device. I know there's a lot of guys in the military that this bugs them, and I fully do understand. It kind of bugs me as a toy collector because they float a lot. Nice little knee pads, and then we get down to the boots. All right, and he has the nice little shin guards. But really, if you look at this, I would assume the laces are underneath this. This clasps around it, so it stays on it. to protect the laces from getting shredded or coming undone while you're in combat or just running through the woods. Maybe you're not in combat. As for his articulation, his head looks up that far. Now, this is something that the G.I. Joe team really, in my opinion, needs to fix, all right? We used to never have an issue, but now this is a huge issue that they've kind of done away with the cut back here. So these things don't look up, and that takes away from so much. He can look down, and yes, he's on not only a different neck, so the neck kind of moves, and so does the head. He can look side to side. He can kind of tilt his head just a slight bit. There's your T-pose, bicep swivel, pinless elbows. All right, wrist are obviously going to swivel, and the watch is actually molded onto this arm, so I thought the watch would actually come off. He has the ab crunch, but of course this plate carrier is going to affect it. So really looking up and looking down is not really good with this figure, and that's very disappointing. Again, this is something that I really feel the G.I. Joe team could and should address. Side to side, kind of rocks back and forth. There's his Jean-Claude Van Damme with drop-down hips. This will allow him to sit in a vehicle a little bit better, and God knows we have a lot of vehicles coming. All right. Pinless knees. God, this figure is really, really smooth. Like, really smooth, really loose, and not in a bad way loose. There's your boot cut. Then your ankle rockers. So he has everything that we've come to love with G.I. Joe. On the bottom, he's still made in China, so it's not coming out of that Vietnamese factory yet. All right, as for the head, you can pop that thing off. You can see the size of the ball joint, which means if we pop this one off, that ball joint is not going to fit. And that is very disappointing. And this is exactly what I was talking about here. All right. So, see how far that head goes back? That is what made it so the Joes could look a little up, could look up more. Same with Marvel Legends and other companies like that. Now the helmet here obviously gets in the way too, but you were able to actually look up a little bit. And I think I just broke his neck. Look down. But we're going to pop on this head because I know everyone wants to see this and how it looks. And that is a really cool looking head. And it's just a nice detail. This is something that you're giving expressions. I know Emily talked about it on the fan stream with the HasLab, that they're able to do a little bit more of expressions on figures because the budget is higher. This is awesome because he is iconically known as having this bubble gum. But right now we're going to leave that off. We're going to pop that on there. We're going to leave that over there. We don't really need to see that right now. As for arming him up here, well, I guess we should first put on his pistol, which slides right there. Now you can see how far this extended magazine sticks out. This thing was already going to stick out, but now it's really kind of just in the way. All right. But now you're going to stick the suppressor in the back here. All right. And I think you can see what I'm talking about. Like, this is just, I know they've done it in the back in the past with a different belt. The Cobra Officer, I believe, has a very similar thing that they can do. This thing's actually not the easiest to get inside of there. And that's because there's really nothing to grab onto. And while you're waiting, if you haven't yet, please hit that like button if you haven't. If you're wondering why are you spending all this time, I like to show you what you're getting out of the box and how easy or hard things are to do. And you can see this is a little problematic. That's going to be difficult, but again, I guess maybe sitting him, this won't be that bad because the pistol doesn't sit backwards. All right, so getting them in a vamp probably isn't going to be hard. Now, I will say I'm having issues from the moment I open this figure up. This thing kind of wants to pop off. But I also think anyone that has a grunt knows how easily this thing can pop on and off. So just be careful with that, because that's going to be one of the first things that you lose. But getting that magazine to sit in there, really going to have to do some work to push that down. So just kind of leave that out for right now. Well, actually, you know, I want that on there. I take that back. I want that on there to see how it fits. And just so you also know, when people start getting aggravated, doing this on camera isn't the easiest thing to begin with. So I feel like that's as far as it's going to go down. Let me know if you have this, if you were struggling too, to get that on there. So we're going to take the backpack. So it doesn't really impact where it's going to sit, although I'm just not a fan of how it is. So this will be removed. Because it does get in the way. I mean, there's no way for that not to be completely in the way. I guess you kind of put it to the side, but either way, I don't know. I'm not a fan of how that sits. And then we're going to take the helmet. Throw that helmet right on him, just like that. So there's how you have a breaker. Now, I don't think with the gum, I'm assuming the comm device, you kind of got to push it out of the way. It is very soft, so you can move it. Now, to compare these two, now the first one, we'll take a look at the classified, and you can see these head sculpts are completely different. They're completely different bucks. As a matter of fact, this guy is so loose. He was the first figure that I contacted Hasbro about replacing, and they actually didn't have any in stock. So they sent me a Baroness with Coil Psycho, which, if you remember, was very difficult to get. But he's a completely different mold, a completely different buck. All right, torso, everything. I really had no issues with this other than his looseness. But you can tell that head sculpt is completely different. I don't even remember if they've ever reused this plate carrier. I think they might have used it on the Arctic snake guys, or I forget which snake guys that was. Yes, there was an Arctic snake guys. It just wasn't called Arctic. You got to look into it. It's the one with timber. I believe the one with timber. But anyway, so you can see there are two different versions. All right, knee pads, boots. Everything is completely different. So if you missed out on this one and you don't feel you need that, it's not a big deal. Or maybe you're like, hey, I have this one. I'm fine with it. I don't need this one. For this guy here, he has a plate carrier, which this one doesn't. They gave him the rolled up arms. Rolled up sleeves. I guess his arms aren't really rolled up. Rolled up sleeves. He has the headset, the communication device that everyone has come to love. Down here, he has the pouches on both sides. And then they have very similar boots cut at the exact same spot. So you look at this guy, and then you take someone like Stalker, and you look at what he comes with. You can fully see how they're going to throw that Stalker design, which actually I don't have. What I do have is Johnny Reno's grunt that he sent me. And you can see that's the knife that's sheathed in there. All right. So that's the knife. And before anyone asked, this rocket launcher is Top Fun Toys. So looking at this guy here, I'm going to take this off. I really didn't want to unpose him, but... So this is the load-bearing vest they wear that Stalker came with. And if you put it on this guy here, and then you have this comm device, you still have the pouches right there. You have your classic breaker. And then everyone can finally get a classic breaker, because I know they're going to want it. That's going to be your retro. So don't be surprised if you see that coming. I have no idea if that's actually in the works. I'm just putting two and two together. Also, the comm device here, this is what came with the original breaker. They talked about how all the mechanics would be in the helmet, which is probably true. All right. So either way, I don't mind this helmet. I think it's actually pretty good, but it doesn't fit on anyone else. At least no one that I've tried. It fits on this breaker extremely well. So, as for how does this guy pose, how does he stand, we're going to grab this pistol here. I love the fact also they have made their hands very, very soft. So you don't struggle to get any type of weapon in their hand. Alright. I really wanted to move this. I feel like I had a really bad angle doing this. So, here he has his pistol and suppressor. See how this is already moving down? This is why people hate these. And I get it. I also understand the aesthetics of it. Get them running. Man. This is taking a little bit longer than I had thought. That knee is in a bad shape. So you kind of get him on one toe right there. No problem there. Can you get him on one foot? Well, I mean, you can, but can you do it with the backpack? Which the backpack sits pretty well, but if you hit it the wrong way, it moves. So there he is at 1 foot, no problem. Now, one of my biggest gripes, kind of a gripe, it's not, is that he doesn't have a rifle. Here's the Top Fun Toys. All right. I'll actually drop a link in the description if you want to get a Top Fun toy gun. This thing is going to work really well with him, and I think this is probably his weapon that is now of my choice for him to have. Because even the communications officer, he's in the Special Forces, he better have something so he can actually fight Cobra with. But there you go. That is your M.A.S.S device breaker, the Target exclusive. Very, very lengthy video. I kind of forgot that the knife sheath's there. I will say this, the knife seems loose. I mean, it's not just going to fall right out, but there's also not a lot of friction holding that in. So be careful with that, because I can see that getting lost also. All right, let's wrap this up. All right, so there you go. That's the M.A.S.S device breaker. I think it was time for another breaker. Not everyone got on with the RAM cycle. Also, a very poor choice of how they did that with a Target exclusive. Although the RAM cycle is actually pretty easy to get. This, once again, is another Target exclusive, but these exclusives have become a lot easier to get than before. I do like the design. I like the updated version. Again, if you are forward thinking and you're looking at the future and what they plan on doing, you look at that load bearing vest there and you know that, hey, we can just kind of throw that on here, change the color of it. The comms are close enough, the helmet and everything. And he didn't even have a weapon, if you remember. He didn't even have a pistol. So that's their way if they want to do a retro card, which they probably will. Because why don't you do the OG in the retro card? So anyway, there you go. That is your Kimberlin is a moderator somewhere. It's Breaker. I don't know. I know exactly why. They put their name on it because they've lost rights, or they want to make sure that no one, screws them with the rights. So there you go. There is your M.A.S.S device, a Breaker. I'm going to get out of here. You spent a lot of time here, and I definitely do appreciate it. So please, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a G.I. Joe Classified. Now, don't go anywhere. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Here's the firefighter. That firefighter is so good. He's right here, and down here is going to be a playlist of all the classified figures that I reviewed. Take care.